The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA is heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
How discreet are dating apps really? Because wanting to put yourself out there is one thing, but wondering who else might see it, who might stumble across your profile, or who might be watching, that's something else entirely. Most dating apps are built to be shared. Profiles, updates, notifications, everything designed to be public, visible, and broadcast. And that works for some people until it doesn't. Until privacy matters more than performance. Ashley Madison is different. It's built for people who value privacy when it comes to dating. People who want connection without the spotlight. There are no feeds to scroll, no followers to impress, no public-facing activity. Just a space intentionally designed for discretion, where conversations stay between the people having them, and where your personal life isn't treated like content. If keeping things private matters to you, if you want connection without an audience, Ashley Madison is where desire meets discretion. Ashley Madison, blessed are the discreet. Download the app or visit ashleymadison.com/iHeartMedia.
XML Sitemaps. What, why, and how search engines work together. XML stands for Expandable Markup Language. That is something I want us to first understand. Expandable Markup Language. That is to say that if you have information about a topic or about a website, majorly, that is where things are going to have a much better result or much better feedback loop when it comes to search engines and finding content online to boost, to convert, and also to direct traffic and also direct long-term engagement. Let me put it that way. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about that today. Welcome, Wills. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Subosh, too, for being here, too. It's going to be a very exciting time because we're going to talk about how, as a business, how you can be able to build your content and also build your sitemap. Welcome, Ella. When you have a sitemap, technically, I always say it's the brain of your website, but you can also think about it as the place or the library where your pages are. And when you think about where your pages are stored so that they can be placed on priority. Like if your name is this, you want to be called this because that's a priority and that's what you respect and that's what you give as a law of reciprocity. So when you think about your sitemap, you're looking at your sitemap. Welcome, Lanessa and Nishant. You're looking at your sitemap as a place where useful information is stored. So how is it useful? It's useful when information has date stamps, when it has timestamps, when it has information that allows someone to be more connected to the opportunity to help the search engine, also to help the highest chance of being indexed and also ranked on Google, on ChatGPT, on Siri, on Alexa, on all these platforms conveniently. And most times when we think about a sitemap, we forget that there's also something called a Robots.txt, which is another way of just saying, how do you set the rule book for how your pages are being scanned on the web? So if there are pages that you don't want to have Google to index or to rank or to allow or disallow using something called user agents, that's where there's a difference when it comes to being referenced online. Because if you don't have a sitemap and you don't have that sitemap in place, then that sitemap can be created to build more capacity over time. Because if you think about a sitemap, right? A sitemap is technically what is telling the search engine about what your website shows. So if your last blog was 2019 or 2022, and you had your article last published then, and it's never been last modified till now, then that's what you're telling Google. Welcome, Peter and Travis. That's what you're telling Google, that, hey, this is what's happening. There are some websites that last mod is important. There are some that last mod is not important. And I've actually seen a scenario where a company that we're working with, they have millions of pages, and we're trying to demystify this sophisticated problem and understand how they're not receiving content or receiving data feedback loops when it comes to Robots.txt, when it comes to sitemap filing, when it comes to last modification settings, when it comes to server responses. It's a lot going on. So it's not like one plug fixes it all. It's not cookie cutter either. So when I'm looking at these things and I'm asking myself, okay, how are these going to talk to each other? If we don't think about our websites, if we don't think about what we put in our robots files, text files, where we don't know what we are allowing or what we're disallowing or what we're parsing or what we're not parsing, it's going to be hard for websites to scan through or serve, because it's not just crawling, right? There's crawling and there's also fetching. A lot of us don't talk about fetching with technical SEO, but there's fetching. And there's a distance between crawling and fetching when you think about the time involved. So as a business, if you don't have the right things in place, yeah, you can have a blog that's ranking on Google today, but it may not be ranking on Google tomorrow. Not because the content is not valuable. Welcome, Eileen. It's just because the content is stale, or it's decaying, or the content is not still relevant, because there are other content pieces that have given more context in form of audio, video, graphic, whether it's image-based, infographic-based, tool-based, link-based, table-based. There's something new that's happening. So if you have a business and you're thinking about your search engines and where you're showing up today, how do you resort to answering these questions? How do you solve these problems? Because these problems are major, especially when you deal with a lot of websites that have thousands of pages. You think about crawl budget. You know, when you hear crawl budget, people think money. But in the terms of Google, crawl budget is your time. When you hear crawl budgeting, technically with sitemaps, you're hearing time. How much time is Google going to spend on your website and spend on the links that are last modified, that are last published? When you think about tokenization, which is another way of saying a duplicate copy of your website on Google from your site, because your site has a publication date and an author page and an author set of pages that have blogs that are posts connected back to your author profile. So if you have content consistently and you're telling the search engines that I published this content last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you're not updating it, it's worse. It's better to update your last 5 pieces of content than to publish 10 new pieces of content and you never updated one. Because the one that you're going to update is the one that's going to still come back and still give you relevance, because you have a stretch. That's why there are articles right now that were published in 2005 and they're still ranking in 2026, because they were written and they were published and they were modified. We have pages on pages on pages on Google, but if we don't update those pages and there's no last modification dates, AI is not going to read that, because it doesn't have to read content that is outdated. There's a crawl budget, there's time. This is an evaluation. And of course, it's not going to fit every website or not fit every other website. There has to be a custom setup for each website. We've worked with people and clients and businesses that they operate on one server, there's another server, they work on this website or this CMS. There's a lot of setups. It's not just like, oh, you have this account or that platform. It's very complicated, but it can also be very simple if we follow the rules and if we play it right, if we do it correctly. So if you think about your business today, ask yourself, what does my sitemap look like? If you want to know if you have a sitemap, just go to Google, go to DuckDuckGo, go to Bing, go anywhere you want to go on the search browser on your Google Chrome and type in your domain.com or the domain, the TLD, the top level domain that you want. And then as soon as you complete that, put a / and then put the word sitemap, SITEMAP ... XML, which stands for Expandable markup language. That's a file extension, just like an MP3, right? Just like an RSS feed for podcasts. RSS is really simple syndication. So these file extensions tell you something. Google Docs is different from Google Sheets because they have different file extensions. A PNG is different from a WebP, it's different from an SVG because these are different file extensions. So when you have a sitemap that has an XML, and some could also have a GZ, which is compressed sitemap files, that's another thing. It's different, right? And you can have a sitemap, and you can also have a child sitemap. So you start asking yourself, okay, what about this sitemap do I need to know that as a business owner I'm not missing? Because if perhaps I'm doing something wrong, I need to know what I need to fix so that I'm not wasting time on things that are not relevant. So if you have a content writing team, or if you're working with a business that does that, then like we do, we make sure that you have consistent flow of SEO database that is not just published, but also automated and scaled. Because you can write 10 articles today, but in month 4, month 5, if you have now 50 articles, and these 50 articles are interlinked, and they're also externally connected to other resource platforms, and they're also referring domains to other places, then you're building relevance because you're actually creating semantic value. So if your sitemap is supporting that, the sitemap is what the bots are reading. There's Googlebot, and Googlebot is not just Googlebot. There's more that's deeper than that. I think I read somewhere online too that Googlebot is the name, quote unquote, but you can't coin Googlebot in one when there are so many other Google products and Google elements and Google attributes, quote unquote, to this one, I can say 2 syllables. So when you look at your brand and you look at your business online, have a business, ask yourself, do I have a domain? Okay, it's ranking. Okay, I'm losing traffic. Okay, why am I dipping in traffic? What's the problem? The problem is not the content. The problem is the structure. When you have a fragmented structure, or a structure that is not compliant, or is not the golden standard, or not up to par with what the updates are saying, or what the core updates, rather, I can say, are placing as, I can say, also standardization for us to have better user experiences, whether it's a mobile device or a tablet or a computer, laptop, desktop, call it, whatever it is, on a Windows, on a Mac, on a Linux, whatever operating system you're on. It's going to be very important to think about these sitemaps, because you could end up on Brave browser because you've done things correctly. You didn't have to submit to Brave browser, but you're there. You didn't have to submit to DuckDuckGo, quote unquote, but you're there because you're on Google, because you're on Bing. Of course, you can still submit to Yandex and other places, but when you start thinking about where you are, there are platforms like Ecosia. They focus on healthy search engine tracking or search engine experiences because they also cater to, helping with pollution and, solving that too, which is really exciting to see because that's sustainable. And that's really good too for the nature and for natural resources, right? There are other platforms like Naver, Naver. Ecosia is ECOSIA, SIA, yeah. So you look at these platforms, there are so many, and you ask yourself, what are we doing with these topics? How are we building these things, and what are we creating for tomorrow? If we have a sitemap, how do we put the sitemap in position? So we think about these things and we have to ask ourselves what the goal is. So if you have any questions, hand, then we'll definitely love to connect with you. Mandiaye, thank you for being here, man. Good morning. We'd love to hear your question or contribution. The floor is yours.
I'm fine. And you?
Hey, you have a question?
No, I'm a student English. Yeah, I wanna a teacher.
you want to, I need to, please put it in the chat because I can be able to help you with that.
Favor,
Hey,
favor.
Eileen, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. I think he just wandered in here because he's looking to learn English. He's totally not listening to the topic. I'm just clarifying why he's here, I hope.
Thank you. Thank you. And when you said teacher, I was like, okay, it connects. Thank you for being here and for raising your hand too, because I always invite people on stage. This is our space. It's not my space only. This is a club for us. So that's why it's called Clubhouse. So thank you for being here, Mandia. Thank you for being here today. Eileen as well. Thank you for coming on stage today. Melissa and May, thank you for being here too. We're talking about XML sitemaps, expandable markup language sitemaps, and why these work together and why search engines allow sitemaps to talk to each other, to work together, is because that's the language of the internet. Just we're talking about language today. This is a perfect way. Like Mandia is here today too, listening. Eileen is here too, clarifying. Thank you. And it's helping us understand the language so we can have a better communication flow. So imagine if we are having communication and that's the same thing bots are having a problem with, where they are not understanding each other because one website is not ranking correctly because the sitemap is off, and then somebody else maybe has a website that has a broken link or has some type of 404 error or has no redirects or has no canonical tags. It's not going to represent the same type of frequency that it would if it was in a structured format. Kind of like a house that's sinking because it's on rocky or sinking sand, than a fortified, sturdy, plot of land that gives you sustainability for decades, for eons. So you start looking at your website and asking yourself, okay, these websites, most times they just give you responses, templates. For example, like with Wix, I also know that like the default Robots.txt with Wix, there's a crawl delay and people don't know that. So you wonder, what does that even mean? So I don't want to go too deep into this, but I've been seeing it and it's very clear that if we don't understand how to fix these things or know what's to be fixed or what's happening, because sometimes we're not even problem aware, that's where the problem starts. Because if you're noticing something is going wrong and you can't tell what the problem is, and it's not content, it's not traffic, it's not engagement, it's just something not making sense, then majorly you also have to think about this thing and ask yourself as a business, where are we thinking about tomorrow when it comes to search engine optimization? Where are we building our content for creating better relationships with the internet, better relationships with the people who find us on the internet? If you end up being in different countries, if you have a podcast, if people listen to you, if you have a show on YouTube, if you have an Instagram, what do you call it, creator account, or anything that's going to give you that creator control quality wise, then these are all going to be pointing back to your website. If you have an embedded code coming off of Instagram or TikTok, and now you have a blog about something and it's within that XML file map, then, and I call it a file map for a reason, because when you think about a file map, I think about the file name. And when you look at a map, the map has to have a name. If you want to pinpoint somewhere, there's a name that you pinpoint. So if the map is within a file, then the file is within a folder. So what is a folder? If you're going to have 5 folders, there are going to be 5 files for each folder. There's going to be a response for each one. So semantically, how do you use your expandable markup language, just like your English vocabulary language, to expand on content that allows other people, other search engines to find you, to find your content, to find your information visible to them, because you're using a rule book with your robots tags, and that's allowing people to connect with you. When you miss those tags, it's like you're telling the internet, hey, don't search through this content because this property domain has no authority. Yet it does, but it doesn't show like it is because it's not showing in context and it's also not showing on a structure. So it's very important to look at these things. They could be underlooked or assumed. But if it's not addressed, then that becomes a fragmented issue and it becomes a problem. And then you don't know what to do because it becomes a backlog. So it's very important to think about this thing. Celeste, good morning. We'd love to hear thoughts on the topic today. Do you hear about sitemaps? And if you do, what do you tell people?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Very good advisor. Very good advisor. Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Celeste, we'd love to hear from you.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you today? Good morning. I do understand sitemaps and how they relate to SEO, but most often I talk about sitemaps when helping people build and organize websites. I feel like a sitemap is like the foundation to understand how everything's interlinked together. Because a lot of people just be throwing up websites and they're not understanding like UX and how, if one page leads to another, if they're just kind of all going in a circle, it doesn't make sense. But if they're leading to like a conversion strategy, then to me that's how the best websites win in the end. So usually when I'm helping clients with sitemaps, it's just so we can understand like their client flow, their customer journey, and what happens at the end. So yeah, but I do work a lot with Google Search Console, and sometimes that helps, versus especially when you have a lot of pages on your website, it helps to go ahead and submit that sitemap versus submitting every single link to every single page one by one. It can be very time consuming. So those are my thoughts on the subject. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. Go ahead, Eileen.
I have a question. So I've got a WordPress site. It's just a mishmash of stuff I've been throwing up for 20 years. Does WordPress automatically create a sitemap, or do I have to do it manually?
good question. So when you have a sitemap, most times when you have WordPress, by the way, let me just make this preface. There's WordPress.org and there's WordPress.com. So
Right, I don't pay for well, the site costs me $120 a year, but technically it's the free site.
either through Elementor, Divi, Cornerstone, what's the other one?
No,
Astra.
nope.
There are a couple of them, and there's Elementor too, and those are the builders within the platform. So if you have built your WordPress site and you have a site that's on WordPress, to your question about the sitemaps, when you don't choose the right, I can call it lack of a better word, plugin within your WordPress to act, because you can't have two sitemaps. It's like saying you can't have two brains. You have one. So when you have a sitemap, your sitemap is going to be the brain that's going to tell the search engines about your website. And that comes in either by default or by custom. So when you have a WordPress account, your WordPress account may have a default sitemap. So let's actually role play. What's your website? I'm going to check your website right now. What's your domain?
Oh, Eileen'sMachine.net. And notice it's ILENES machine.net. I don't even remember the last time I updated it. But
Okay.
WordPress keeps upgrading their uh, how you work with it, and it's now so confusing that I'm not updating it regularly, but I need to start.
Okay, this is perfect because I'm actually looking at your site. And since we're talking about this today, the first thing I notice is that your site is on a sitemap that which is your website.net slash sitemap.xml, which was what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, I'm seeing you have like screenshots of 2022, 20 calendars of 2021. I'm just looking through, like it says 2019 Needham Nature Calendar. Like it gives me all the information because it's the brain of what your website is showing on the front. It's kind of like saying you can look at a car driving, but it's the engine of the car that's going to tell you how well this car is going to perform on the road. So right now, if you're driving this car, which is your website on the internet, which is the road, which is like the highway, right now you're operating at a point where with your last modification, which I see was 2025, that was October 28th at 7:37 a.m. When I look at that, already tells me that you have a last mod, which is good. It's a good note, but if it's not updated, that's where the I can call it the decay starts, the staleness begins. And like you said, you've not gone to your website in a while. I'm looking at your WordPress and I can see it's a .com because I can find that out through your search engine. And your search engine was generated January 31st on 2026 at 4:36 a.m. So this information I'm telling you is public because it's available to the internet, it's available to Google, it's available to search engines. So that's why we're talking about sitemaps today. So right now, your question about sitemaps, what has happened is you've not technically customized your sitemap on your website because it can show me that yes, you're on WordPress and I can see you have WordPress, of course, with the PHP, of course, which is there, and it's at WordPress.com. Now, if I go into your backend of your website, now that's when we get on calls and do consultations and strategies. When I now go to the backend, from what I can see on the front, it's already telling me what it can be added to the back because you already have the foundation. Now, when we update your sitemap, that sitemap is also going to be updated throughout the different search engines. Now, when they're updated, it now allows your sitemap to also have a consistent flow of responses. Yes, right now your content may have those three. When you look at the three I'm referring to, there are three things that you have, which is important for different sitemaps across when it comes to the recency. The first one is the last mod, which is what I was talking about, the last modified date. That tells engines, okay, this is when this content was last updated. The second one is the frequency. It tells the content or tells the community or tells the online searchers or the web crawlers how often your page is likely to change. For you on your website, I'm looking at it, it says monthly. So some frequency, it says weekly, some says monthly. That means in your crawl budget, quote unquote, you've told the search engines, hey, we change here monthly, so come back next month. So even if I wrote something into the next 2 days, because the frequency is set like a thermostat to monthly, that monthly is going to apply that rule book and not have to bypass that because you set the motion. So in order to change that so that it turns from monthly and weekly to daily, that's where automatic now comes in when it comes to sitemap indexing and also building that in. So when you think about your sitemaps, of course, you have a sitemap, which is the brain of your website. But when you look at the complexity and the way the websites are also connecting, that changes. And the third one is the priority, right? That also suggests the relevance and the importance of the page compared to others on the website. So when you have all these different things and you have priorities there, like right now, your priority is at a zero point 0.6, right? And it ranks from 0 to 1. So it usually is 0 0.3, 0 0.4, 0 0.9. So yours is at 0 0.6. So this is a lot of information, but in a nutshell, the goal is to make sure that your website and your sitemaps are telling search engines about exactly what you want them to hear or see so that the people that are searching for you in real time are finding your most recent update and not your last published connections. So let me know if that makes sense because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, okay, so if you type in Eileen's machine on any search engine, I pretty much I'm on the whole page. But I want us to start a new product, if you will, with my photography where I'm doing family and dog photography. And I've set up a separate page that I use I've only just started marketing it for users to go into. But I mean, I'm not worried about search engines for the internet as a whole because I'm a very localized business and it's in the Boston area. So I'm just trying to think of strategies, one of which being I need to update my page more regularly, to sell photographic materials and sell to families that want to have pictures with their pets. So I'm really out in left field here trying to figure out what to do and how to do it, and is it worth the time and effort? I mean, if someone searches the internet for my name or Eileen's machine, I'm all over the front pages. There's only a couple of us in the world, So sometimes other people's stuff will get mixed in, but it's not a big deal. I just, I'm not even sure where I need to spend my energy to do this new marketing, you know?
Can I chime in?
This
Oh,
is
go ahead.
where, yes, please. Yeah, please. Because I have a lot of data I'm going to share with you, Eileen, because I want to read facts and figures and not just assumptions. So I'll share this with you. Celeste, please feel free. I'd
Hey,
love
I
to
think
hear
this
your
would be a
thoughts on this.
perfect. Hey, Eileen. Okay, so
Hi.
I work with a lot of like new small businesses, just helping them understand like marketing 101. And when it comes to SEO, I think a big misconception, and I really want to explain this because I had a customer get scammed before by basically a SEO quote unquote company calling her and saying, hey, she had a bakery. I forgot what her name was. Let's just say her name is Marianne's Bakery. Like, hey, if you pay us, we will get you ranked on the first page of Google. And she's like, oh, great, right? Great. She pays, and sure enough, they get her on the first page of Google for her business name. Now, I want to ask you if you were looking for, okay, I live in Oregon, so I'm way far away from you here in Boston. Do y'all have a Baskin Robbins there, like the ice cream store?
We used to. I think they've all
Okay,
gone
great.
under at this point.
I just want to make sure you knew what it was because, a lot of times y'all have stuff and I'm like, what is that? So let's say you're looking for Baskin Robbins. Okay, if you type in Baskin Robbins, yes, okay, you're going to be able to find it. Anyone who types in a business name can find it regardless if you show up or not. It's like very intentionally looking for that business. What Baskin Robbins wants to do is show up when people type local ice cream shop. So that company scamming her out of, it was like $1,000, something like a crazy amount. When they got her, she wasn't thinking about that. Like, oh, and actually, naturally, without you doing much work and just having, a typical online presence, Google will usually rank you for your business name. So that's not what you want to show up for. What you want to show up for is when people type dog photography Boston, right? Anything related to what you do, but they don't know you. Does that make sense? Like if someone's looking for you, that means they already know you. That's cool. But the real exercise is for the people who don't know you when they type in words related to what you do, that you are actually showing up.
And
That
I'm
is the
not. I
magic
just,
of
yeah, I just
SEO.
did a couple of searches. I am not showing up at all.
That is the goal. So that is what Favor, is going to kind of. I just want to make sure you understood because meet a lot of people and they're like, "Oh, I show up for a business name. I don't need SEO." But the real strategy is what you just discovered. So with that said, I'm going to pass it on over to Favor.
That was perfect. Thank you. Eileen, I want to share with you something too. When you go to Google, this is something you can do, and anybody can do this too. Try this out if you haven't done this before. When you go to google.com, on the search bar where people search for questions, prompts, search keywords, anything, intent, go in there and then put in, and that's what I've just done. So I'm telling you what I'm seeing. You'll probably see the same thing too because it's on Google. Type in SITE, that's site, and then put a full colon, and then put in eileensmachine.net, and then hit enter.
Site colon.
eileensmachine.net, no spaces.
Yeah.
Hit enter.
Yeah.
What do you see?
I see me.
Okay.
It's all me on the first page.
Okay. Now, do you see the sitemap? If you scroll down, do you see this? Do you see how many years ago? Do you see like tags of the years ago? Like maybe dates? Do you see years ago in the mix? Do you see numbers?
Well, I see the dates of a bunch of stuff at the front of the articles.
Okay. What's the latest one you've seen?
October 28th, 2025.
Okay, scroll down and then look to your right where you see the three dots. Do you see years?
Well, on that particular entry or
No, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see if you see it, Are you, maybe you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Are you using WebGuide?
I am on a Macintosh computer using Firefox and Google, and I
Okay.
don't know what WebGuide is.
The web guide is just an internal, it's something that's still in beta. I don't know if they're fully out there, but I've been using it for some time now. So I'm going to switch to classic search. So technically web guide is like AI mode, quote unquote, but definitely not the same, where Google takes all the citations of all the information about that one topic, and then it breaks it down and gives me the exact pages that lead to those exact citations based on the search. So when I looked at your web guide before I clicked to classic search, I can see the October you mentioned. I can see 5 years ago you talked about the great blue heron and beavers at the Needham Reservoir, and then I see 6 years ago. I see 12 years ago on Macintosh and its movies. So the most I see is 12, and then it says deeply analyzed 17 results, and Google selected 8 out of the 17, because when it comes to time, when we talked about the crawl budget, if Google is going to spend more time on the other 9 plus that may not have been updated, which they've already tried and they can see it's already old, as far back as 12 years old, it's a good thing for you. It's kind of like saying you have a 12-year credit report or a 12-year business track history. That's good. It's not good when it becomes stale and the last time you updated that page was 12 years ago. So Google only remembers the last 12 years ago context that you created. But if you go back and update it, which is where the sitemaps and everything comes together, is a beautiful combination, because you create a symphony online. And it's not just updating because someone will say, all right, let me just go update it. The goal is not to update. The goal is to be the relevant resource. And that comes by consistently building trust scores. So when I looked at that, I now went back to your page, and then you see at the very bottom of the page, Eileen, do you see the Google tag, the Google logo at the very bottom?
Wait 1 second. Yeah,
Okay, do you see the page nation, the 1, 2, 3, 4?
yeah.
Okay,
I'm on page 3, and it's all still me.
okay, when you go to page 4, do you see the fourth page, or do you see 3?
I see 4.
Okay, you see 4. So hit 4,
Yeah.
and
And it goes
then
back to 2017.
okay. So the reason why you're not seeing anything past 4 is because Google only knows about these 4, I can call them 4 books, because for every one page on Google, you have 10 listings. So right now you have 40. So because we've hit the bottom of 4.
Yeah.
So if we're at 4, that means 1 had 10, 2 had 10, 3 had 10, 4 has 10. And now all these 4 are counting to 40. So it means that Google has 40 pages on your website that it's aware of, but they're all showing you because we pointed it to your site from the search. Now, why we did that is so that you can see how well Google knows you. And if other people, I mean, there are other pages that you can get to page 10, page 15, page 30, because the more pages you have on your website, the more you're driving traffic. So you mentioned pet photography, you mentioned dog photography. And I said, okay, let me go into Boston and see. So if you can go to a website called serpapi.com, you can go and see it there. In Boston, there's 6.9 million people. So I did Boston, Massachusetts, and I hit location and I did pet photography Boston. Now, when I look
Well,
down,
I just did it. I'm not there at all.
okay, right. So the reason why you're not there is for 2 reasons. There are other major, or I can say others related reasons, but the 2 that would definitely stand out the most, and this applies to a lot of websites, not just yours. There are 1.1 billion plus websites, and this happens. So we have to always think about updating consistently. The first thing is that your sitemap, to the room discussion today, your sitemap will need to be updated, because if you've not updated your sitemap since October 2025, we're about to hit April 2026. And it doesn't mean that the content is still, but it means that if you have more still content than new content, then it will decrease your crawl budget, because the time that Google spends will be less. So the goal is to create new content, which we now do with you. And we make sure that your content is seen, is heard, is delivered, is processed, and is also treated. SEO treatment is not just writing blogs. It's writing treatments that are going to allow pages to be indexed through different documentation pages. So you have a beautiful website when it comes to content and delivery, because you have a long-term domain. But if this domain doesn't move the needle, or doesn't have any updated recency when it comes to data, or even UX when it comes to the user experience of mobile desktop or tablet, you won't be able to see yourself in that results page, because the second reason is timing. Now, with the timing, if you're looking at articles there, you're seeing 2025, 2024, yes, but that's not the only page they have on their website. So if they have 90% of their pages are updated, of course, that one will still be relevant because they're in business. Just like you renew your business every year, that's how your website should also have a renewal process every year. So for every one page you publish for the new, I can say for one new publication, at least update one blog or one page, because that way you're able to have two instead of one. So you compound that effect consistently. The more you update, as opposed to the more you publish, the better you get and the faster you're able to fly online. So it's a different
Yeah.
combination. Yeah. So I
What?
hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I had surgery it's almost 2 years ago, and everything stopped in my life. And so I'm just getting back into it. But basically, I've been only updating this website when I do a show. And so I'm doing a show in April, so I'll put the flyer up on the site. Then I send out email, and then I will get hundreds of hits on the site, and it's all local, which is fine because the show is local. And that's pretty much how I've been doing things. But like I say, I want to advertise doing pet photography to a wider audience now.
Yes, and that's where
So,
we can come in with that. Definitely, Eileen, we'd love to talk about this and make this happen.
oh,
Because
I'm dead broke. I literally have to do everything myself. If I don't know how to do it, I teach myself and I learn. Everything you see on any of my websites is all self-created, and I just bootstrap it, you know?
it's very important to think about these things, yes. And I understand when you look at the longevity of what you do as a business, because with websites, it's like, it's there, it's there. It's not there, it's not there. But when you have a website and your website is what speaks for you online, then your name will be you take it seriously, or you'll take your name also very seriously when you start seeing the results that you get, which are not the results you want. But also, like you said, time and money, that's a big valuation, and that's something to also consider. I, for one, not everyone is different, but for me, I love to learn, and I've always been learning, and I've taught myself how to do a lot of things, including something like this. So with SEO, with technical setups, I always hit different snags. I always understand that, okay, it's not always going to be right. You make more errors than you make corrections. So if I've been able to make a lot of errors, I know why those errors were made, and I know how to fix them now, compared to you trying to fix them when I fixed them before. So when it comes to communication and things like this, yes, you're asking, how do I set up? What's the next best step? Most people will just resort to social media or just start posting away. But if you're looking at the fundamental ground and asking yourself, what's really going to bring back a yield of my time, my money, my energy from the morning to night, it's something that you can think about and say, okay, if I want to really do this consistently, then where can I spend the most of my time? For me, it's a podcast. Why? Because I can hit the button and I can be in across 100 and plus countries, 160 countries. Not because I'm spending ads or spending money to reach them. It's because the time I've spent to build the foundation was more than the money I can ever pay for that amount of
Yeah,
response.
see, I don't want to be in 160 countries. I just want to be in my own state because that's where I do everything, you
Right.
know?
I'm
And if you do a search on my name on Google, I come up everywhere. I mean, I've been on the internet a long time, and Google bought Usenet, which I used to use very heavily before the World Wide Web existed. You can literally find out my whole life doing searches on Google just on my name.
Yes, that is true because of all the resources that have been, I can say, data based. Let me use that word over
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So right now, to have a search engine that is working for AI purposes, for technical setups, for having that documentation, which will allow you not to do it the manual way and now do it the automatic way, or even the self-driven way, is by using this custom sitemaps that you came with the first question about how sitemaps are and how it looks like on your website compared to what it should look
Right.
like. So looking at the distance when you have these updates, it's kind of like doing a new paint job on your car or doing a detail or just taking it to a car wash. It's the same car, but it looks and feels different because you've done some work in it. So your website, it doesn't have to be changed entirely. It just needs to be updated, renovated, and also
Right.
be put into a place. And I can already see those things. So it's not about, oh, it's $10,000 or it's $10. It's what is the cost of my time when I compare it to the amount of information people get. Because you mentioned that you send them emails. If you have events, having local events on Eventbrite, having local events on your website, sending them through those, I can call them pathways, are ways
Yeah.
for you to still build relationships with people. So you're not spending money per se to get this attention because it's local based and you already have a name. So you don't even need to pay for the attention because you already have it. It's just to make sure that you have a structure that is compliant and also ethically based for you to have that long-standing sustainable communication with search engines and also with traditional search engines with
Yeah.
regard to.
Cool.
Love it. This was a great one, Eileen. You brought us up for this one. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your advice.
About
Hiya.
it.
Well, I used to be a strugglepreneur. So Eileen, I understand where you are. Like, I understand when you're like, like all my money's going to like, just surviving. So how am I going to
Right.
afford, all this stuff? I wanted to point you into the direction. Have you ever talked with the SBDC in your area? A Small Business Development Center. Every state has
Yeah, the
one.
Small Business Administration does free webinars and stuff in the area. And if it's relevant and I think the person has a clue, I will attend some of those. I just signed up. MIT, actually, Celeste, you might want to know about this. MIT has just offered a free 12-week course on art entrepreneurship. And even though I've been running my business for 12 years, I figured I can always learn something new. And it's on the MIT.edu continued learning thing. And it's free. It's 12-week course, starts tomorrow. And if you want an MIT certificate of completion, you can pay $49. It's available in most countries. There are some countries that cannot access the course.
MIT, what is that?
Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Huh.
It's one of the
Yeah.
top
Okay, hold on one second,
colleges
because we're
in the
getting away
country.
from the subject. Wait. I have ADHD real bad. I'll be going on a rabbit hole on MIT when I'm supposed to be telling you about the. Okay, so SBA, SBDC, yes, they're pretty much one and the same. SBA is like the overarching, government thing, and then every single state has their own
Right,
SBDC. So you're
right.
already tapped in with that.
Yes, I get regular mailings about courses and help that they offer.
Okay, I am going to. Now, I know you're like, looking around. I'm going to highly advise you to lean into that because I took a look at your website. It's a starting point, but even without SEO,
Well,
it
it's a
needs a lot of
mess.
work.
I
It
mean,
needs a
my
lot of
my
work.
website is a mess because I had a plan for how I was going to do it initially. And at that point in time, you were not allowed to do any sort of selling. And now that's all changed, but I never kept up with changing the website to keep up
Okay.
with the changes. So I
Okay.
dumped my plan, my original plan, and what I said was, well, I'm just going to use this as a place to dump information about my shows, my products, Sometimes I do product reviews. It's a real mishmash of junk in my website. In fact,
Okay.
all
Well, what
my
I'm
social
saying is
media sites
basically,
are like that.
so through the SBDC, they don't, they have, I mean, there's like a ton of stuff, but one of the things that they can provide you is a free business advisor. Usually those business advisors have connections to tons of free like programs, even grants. Like when I first started, I was pointed to a program and I got a $5,000 business grant. That grant like saved my whole life. Okay.
Well,
Changed my
I
life
did
around.
apply for a grant and received it last year, but it was a very targeted grant, and
Mm-hmm.
it was for a presentation I did through the camera club that I run.
Okay. Yeah.
And now I'm looking into bigger grants.
Okay,
And I
cool.
do
Do
that.
you
That's
have a
with,
business advisor through the SBDC?
no, I've actually, every time I've met with the Small Business Administration people, they've known less than I did. So I haven't found them very helpful.
Huh, okay. Did you talk to someone specifically about your website?
About my business. This was, oh God, I must have met with them last in person about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Um,
When you go in there, this is what I would recommend because what I find is like those business advisors sometimes they have specialties in different areas, although they're just like, I can help you with everything, right? Even I can't help you with everything, okay? I run a business, but I still would refer you to other specialists for certain areas. When it comes to marketing, I'm like, oh yeah, I can help you with that. Taxes, bookkeeping, I'd refer you to somewhere else.
yeah.
So when you go in, just be very specific, like, hey, this, I have, 18 different needs, yes, but my most urgent one is my website. I need someone to help advise me or give me some resources on how I can fix my website, update it myself. I don't want to outsource. I don't have a budget for that at this time. Or point me in the direction of a grant that can help me, pay for outsourcing that.
Yeah.
That is what you need to be like very specific on. The other thing is, and here's the thing, I don't want you fiddling with that website, Eileen, unless you have a very clear strategy on like, this is what I need to do. And I'm not hearing that from you. I'm not trying to put you
No,
down.
there's no strategy. It's just,
Okay,
oh, I'm
so
doing a show, throw up a flyer,
Okay, so
and
that's the
then,
thing that I
you
want you
know,
to like figure out before you go in messing with that website. Because what happens is, I meet a lot of people and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do it myself. They do it themselves, but they don't have a clear plan, a clear strategy on what exactly is needed. And so it doesn't really improve. It looks better, but like, for example, I'll give you a low level one. You have on mobile, you have a huge thing at the top of your homepage. It's like a big present. It just takes up the whole screen. That has nothing to do with anything, right?
well,
That
wait, are
needs to
you
go bye
looking
bye.
at it? I'm sorry,
That
are
needs to
you
go bye
looking
bye
at it on computer or on a phone?
on mobile. And the
Oh,
reason
yeah,
why
no, my
mobile,
site, when I
well,
send
hold on,
out,
hold on, hold on,
well,
hold
let
on,
me
hold
just
on.
tell you, when I
Wait, you gotta
send
let me
out
finish,
marketing,
Eileen. Wait, you gotta let me finish. Mobile is most important because
yes, I know that.
60% of people look at it on their phones. So that needs to go away. That
Yes,
big old present.
I, when I send out my email marketing, I tell people, please look at my website on a computer. It does not look good on a phone.
Right.
You know?
The biggest problem you have. Most people they're not doing all that. I'm telling you that
Right,
right
I
now.
know. And that's been a
Consumers are
change.
lazy, okay? We're not going to say, "Oh, we love Eileen so much. Let's go home and look at it on a computer." We're not, okay? So you got to fix that. It has to be optimized for mobile. Also, you don't really have like a good streamline of like if I did want doc photography, I have to click on so many buttons just to figure out how to contact you. That's a huge problem. So, just low level things like that, I
Okay.
really want you to meet with someone so they can show you like, "Hey, this is how you should optimize this before you go in filling with it, wasting a bunch of time and it's still not where it needs to be." The only other suggestion I have, this is a free one. If you have a library card through your local library, most people this works. I just referred someone last night to this resource. You can access LinkedIn Learning for free. It's usually, I think, $50, $40 a month. But if you have a library card, you can access it for free. It has literally like over 10,000 videos, in-depth trainings on exactly what we're talking about, like
Yes, that's
marketing, all the
Linda.
things. So,
That used to be
yes.
lynda.com.
Yes,
And
yes,
she
yes,
was a
yes.
client of mine, and I've got a lot of her videos that I saved and have gone through, but not web-based. It's mostly I focused on the Photoshop side of things.
Okay, well, they
And
have tons of
yes,
ones
yeah,
on
I'm aware
optimizing
of
a
that.
WordPress site. It's not just optimizing like a website, because that's cool, but
Right.
you need to know how to optimize your WordPress site. And the
Yes.
last only suggestion I'm going to give was eileensmachine.com. Was it taken?
It is mine. I pay for it.
Oh.
It
Well,
is
why come that's not
registered.
connected to your website?
Okay, well, so the reason oh God, you're gonna love this one. I
Eileen,
had
you're
a
striking
host.
out, honey.
I had
Go
a
ahead.
host that was serving it on a G4 computer, and it kept going down. So I canceled the host. So the .com website is on my computer waiting for me to find a new host for it. I want to put the old site up, even though it's now 10 years old, because I have about 600 pages of resources on it that I use.
Okay, wait.
And
I got to interject because wait. You owned eileensmachine.com. You own
I
that domain.
still own it. Yep.
Okay. Favor, I think, yeah. Because when you own a domain, it doesn't matter if what it's connected to, you can transfer that domain to your new site, the eileensmachine.net. I don't
No,
know if you knew that.
that I want the two sites completely separate.
Okay. Because having a .net on your main site is actually hurting your site.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
For SEO purposes. If you don't care about SEO, then it's fine. But having a .com is much better. Favor, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I could be wrong, but all my years of research, I'm like,
Yeah, .NET is a lot of people don't use it, even though it's still there, but you'd rather not, because if you have a .com, why are you going for the net? You're already on the internet, so it's just better to have it that way. And if it's pointing to the net and not the com, and the com is not first, then you're putting the primary as secondary, and that's a different conversation.
like I would
Yeah.
switch them basically. If you have a site and you're not using it and you don't give it out to anybody, I would make that the .net and make this one that you are sending out to people the .com.
Well, I don't want the .com on WordPress. I'm looking for a host that I have some very complicated HTML on that site. And I've been trying to find a host that'll just literally let me dump the site by FTP in there and then go from there. But so far that hasn't happened. I am
Yeah, I
trying
want
to
you to think of
see.
this as like, okay, you have two dinner
I
plates. That's your
created
website.
I
The
created
domain is just the
Eileen.
silverware, honey. You're just switching it. You get what I'm saying? They're not literally attached to each other for life. You can
Yeah, but
switch them at any time. But okay,
I
moral of
just
the
don't
story,
have
because
that kind
really
of time.
quick, because I
What?
know we're running out of time. I know we're running out of time.
Okay, I
I'm
just want
still
to
gonna
tell
double
you.
down. Wait, honey. I just
I
want to
just
tell you.
want to give you information that my eileensmachine.com I registered in the year 2000.
Okay, got it. I'm just going to double down on just try. I know you're like, oh, I know more than them. Try really hard to go to your SBDC and say, hey, I need some digital marketing help. I don't need whole business help. I need someone who's an expert in digital marketing. They will help you out. I promise you. They will point you to someone. They'll be able to explain this in person, which I think will be much more helpful than us doing this, through a phone, some people who are like thousands of miles away from you. But thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to give it back to Favor because I know we're sucking up your time,
Yes,
Favor. Sorry.
thank you for your
Yes.
information. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was very helpful. I feel like that's the kind of conversation somebody would be having in their minds because that happens a lot. It really does. And I'm happy though that Eileen, you are using your website to dump information, quote unquote, into your your system. That's a good thing. Some people are dumping their information on Facebook and then they don't have access or property ownership on it. So you're doing a good thing. So it's not like it's terrible, but it could be better, like Celeste said.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a good thing. So thank you for that feedback as well, and appreciate you for that insight. It's very helpful. I think that has also given the room a lot to think about, and a lot of people are thinking through their own sites and asking themselves, what does this look like for me? Am I in the same boat or am I on a different wavelength? So thank you so much for that feedback as well. And I see you as well, Max. Thanks for being here. Ryan, thanks for being here too. Lorenzo, it's good to see you here as well. Hamza, Ebenezer, Zatrian, Tasha, thanks for being here too. And also Jasmine, thanks for being here as well. We'd love to hear from you. I brought you up because it's been a while. Thanks for being here, and I hope you're doing well. Wanted to know what you're working on, what's happening in your world, especially when I'm looking at is there enough? Because there's some things that I saw and I was like, yeah, I would like to share that with you, but would like to hear from you too. So we'd love to hear from you. Welcome to the room.
Hey Favour, hey Celeste. I hope everyone is well and their day is going well so far. Yeah, it's awesome. I really enjoy your spaces. The information that you share is very actionable and to the point. And I'm actually working on SEO. So when I saw the room, I was like, oh, this is right on point, because I think it's important to know I'm a writer. I resonate as a writer. I write everything down first. It's how I strengthen my communication. And one of the things that I've learned about SEO is the importance of it, and doing that research, because it really improves my writing. And helps me to understand what people are actually looking for. So I think it's important to understand that. And I'm always looking for great information, strategies that I can use to support what I'm doing in the world.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much. And we love writers. We love that because, it definitely sparks emotion and sparks fly because of words that go through the mind and through the body, through the words that we say and how it even resonates, because it's not even what we say, it's how we say it. So appreciate you for being here and taking the action, because these action steps, I do them for myself, I do them for clients, we do them together, we do them as a collective, and it gets better because every day we keep improving and we really, really keep putting it out there. And when it comes to even ranking, putting content, it's so confusing, but at the same time, it can be so easy to understand. And when I looked at your website and I also looked at Eileen's website, there are two things, actually one, let me just keep it to one because there was a lot I saw, but there's one thing so that I can make sure that once this one thing is solved, every other thing we talk about is a bonus. It's just going to be complimentary because that will just be solved on the go. This one thing is the one big thing that could change everything. So on your website, there's something called, and I'm going to talk about this as a room on its own because I've been dealing with this with different clients, solving problems with millions of pages, understanding why this is working, why this is not working. And there's something called canonical tag, which a lot of people don't talk about much because it's not looked into, but it's something I'm going to talk about as a room on its own. Canonical tag. Thank you for the love. Appreciate that. When you think about canonical tag, it is a snippet of a hypertext markup language code. And this is, I can also call it a naming convention that declares and also tells what the canonical URL of the page would be. In other words, if you are focusing on saying that this is the main version for your duplicate or something that is close to a duplicate or something that is similar, that is in form of a URL, yes, somebody may be seeing your name as Favour, right? And then someone may say, okay, your name is Favour, but it's Favor, but that's not how my name is spelled. It's Favour. So canonically, my name is misspelled if somebody sees Favour is the right spelling with the U, but Google sees it as an O-R without the U, so it's not going to validate you. Just like with your ID, or with your passport or with your documents. If you have a typo on your name, that's going to be your name because it's on everything else. So it's as important as your website. That's why I talk about these canonical tags, and it's something I've been drilling down, and people are like, oh yeah, whatever, it doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, hey, if this is not fixed, you have a fragmented problem. And if it's not fixed, we're going to be dancing around the problem, not solving the problem. So it's a big deal. And what it looks like is it has a link, it has a relativity code, and that's something that is a DNS and also a WordPress, or I can say CMS, customer, content management system problem, which can be processed through your hosting. It can be processed through your servers. And these are things that can be fixed. Why are these things important? It's important because we're talking about sitemaps today. So if you have a bad or broken or non-existent canonical tag, then in other words, it means that Google cannot be able to identify which page should Google choose. So if you're giving Google more work to choose or to look through, then you're technically reducing your crawl budget, which is going to decrease your time spent with Google. So if Google is going to reference your page that was referenced back in 2022 because you have a low crawl budget, or you have thin content, or you have duplicated content, and it's not self-referential, then it's not going to allow the content to actually scale because it doesn't know which URL should be indexed. You can't index two links that are the same. And if they're similar, how do you make them into one? So if we think about it, for example, and even someone called John Mueller, shout out to him. He works with Google too. And you can see his name, he's there, one of the GOATs. And you'll see what he said. He talked about it on Ahrefs. He said, even if you have one page, sometimes there are different variations of that URL, and that can pull up that page. And I'll say this again so you can hear this in full. Even if you have one page, that's one page on your website, just let's say a home page. If you have one page, sometimes there are different variations of the URL that can pull that page up. For example, with parameters in the end, perhaps with upper lowercase or www or non-www, all these things can be kind of cleaned up with a rel canonical tag. That's what he said. So when we think about the book, the law, the code, the blueprint, we're not talking about things that are not being done or tested. So if there's no canonical tag and we're not using the absolute response and we're not putting it in a way that's going to get us in that position, it's going to be hard because Google is not going to be able to read that canonical tag. The robots files tells the search engines where they can and can't go on your websites. And if the URLs are disallowed in the robots tags, that means Google is not going to read them. But if Google says allow, or if you say allow first in your robots tags, that means Google is going to read through it. And if Google is reading through content that is old and it keeps coming back every time because your priority is high, but your content is stale, then at some point it's going to stop coming back because it feels like you're not updating your website enough. That's why there's automatic indexing, there's manual indexing. So these things are underlooked or overassumed, but both of your websites have no canonical tags. That's why I just wanted to give you the context or the preface of that. So there's a way to fix it, but these things are there. There's also robots tag and also X robots tag. That's another conversation, but there are three things that are missing. And when those things are done, it changes. On your website for you, Jasmine, you have 31 H1 tags. That means you have 31 headings for the same book. So these are things that if we fix, change, modify, update, index, resubmit, then it will be much faster for you to scale because you have amazing content, you have amazing things you're doing for the people, and more people would need to see this, but they will need to understand it through their lens, through the way you've presented it online. So these are some things I'm seeing, but I can definitely show you better. I can tell you because I can show you and share my screen when we get on a call. The link is available above and we can talk about it. These are the things that we can definitely look into, or you can go to playinc.online, PLAYINC.online, and the booking calendar is right there as soon as you land on the page. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. What are you thinking about all these things that I've said?
That was really useful. Can you just tell me when you said the H1, what is that
So
specifically?
a H1, I think that's a good question. So H1 stands for heading 1, and there are usually 6 headings. Every website has 6 headings. Just like you have a book, the title of the book is Think and Grow Rich. That's H1 because that's what everybody reads. That's what everybody sees on the shelf. I've not opened it. I've not clicked on it. That's what's there. That's what it is. And that's the name. So that's a H1. And then welcome, Jay Lorenzo. I'll come to you too. When you see that H1, it's the title of your website. It's the title of your page, right? Because there are 3 levels. There's a website, there's a web page, and then there's a web link. So we've talked about the canonical tags, which is in the web link formula. Now the website, which is the parent, which is everything under the hood of the domain, is where you have your H tags. So you have your heading tags. So heading tags are, let's say I'm actually going to do a quick search right now. So when I look at your tags, yeah, your H1s, I can see where your H1s are. You actually have 35 H1s, not 31. So you have the agreement, economy is a H1, the conversation is a H1, building trust and agreement is a H1. Technically, producing a world game is a H1 that can work for each and for all. That's a H1. Are there too many people? That's a H1. So you have a lot of, and then I can see the names that you've also listed under the podcast. These are all H1s. So technically, it's like telling Google, hey, I have 31 names, choose one. Google is not going to choose one. Google is going to drop all because Google doesn't know which one to give as a first control, the first demand. So when you have a broken canonical tag, and then you also have 31 H tags or 30 plus H tags or heading tags, then Google has no idea of what you do, and neither does it understand what you're trying to say because you have 31 people talking to you at the same time, if that makes sense. And you're not going to hear anything because it's just going to sound like noise. So when you have one H1 for every web page, that makes it more concentrated. Like one book has one topic. This is the book. Okay, we want to do H2. That's a subtopic. So we'll say, okay, Think and Grow Rich, chapter 1. That's H2. Then maybe topic about something else, H3. Maybe mentioning how do you solve this or appendix or this or that. That's going to be in the H3. It goes all the way through H6. You don't even need to get to 6. But when you think about those tags, and those tags are not the font size, because people say, oh, H1 is now 32 pixels, or this is the size. It's not about the size. It's about the instruction. I want to put a pause on that. But you want to make sure that you think about it. Celeste is laughing. You think about the long-term effect and ask yourself, okay, if this is 32 pixels, and it's a H1, great. But if I also have a H1 that is a 16 pixels, then is that size really mattering? Or is the fact that both of them are saying the same thing, but from 2 different locations with the same tone, that's what it's implying? So if you have a H1 tag, that H1 tag should be just 1. Then everything else should be a H2, like your podcast and the name of the people on your podcast, or the podcast that I'm seeing that is being featured here. All of them should be different. Like I'm seeing sources, discover the academy, claim a spot. This should all be under like H4s. So if they're not within those structural, it's like saying you're building a house with bricks, but you're putting the windows on top of the sand. And then you're not going to put cement on top of the bricks. And then on top of that, you're going to put a TV. And then before you know it, you have a bottle of water. It's like a lot of confusion going on because you're saying so many different things that are making sense, that are very essential. But when they're put together in one sentence or in one page, they all sound like a cluster of things that are not coherent. So the goal is to make sure that all those points are pointing to the right resources within the right headings. And right now you have about 2,061 words, which is about 10,871 characters. And your keywords are 0.86 when it comes to the number of words you have in density. And agreement is the highest, which has 2.36, which has a count of 22. So when I'm looking at your site, I'm looking at, okay, what's going to be the best thing? The 4 words that you have that's the most is make world work humanity, making world work starts, working book conversation unique. These are all great words, but when they're not put in the right key phrases or density maps, then that's when it gets clunky. So it's a lot I'm looking at. That's why I said there's a lot to see, but it's something that is easy to fix, but it's not easy, quote unquote, if you don't understand the fundamentals. And that's why I'm talking about this today. And we'd love to even bring this to you and you can see it visually when we get on a call, because as soon as you book a call with me, I send you a 5-minute video auditing your website, telling you what I'm showing you, what you're hearing, but you can actually see it and you can see my mouse moving. And then when we get on a call, we can actually talk about the results so that we can change this narrative, fix a technical bug, and also make the next necessary step. So wanted to hear your thoughts on that, if that made sense on the heading tags.
Yes, that actually was very useful to hear. Thank you for breaking that down. And I just want to also clarify that website, that is not my website. Actually, mine is Between the Questions. That website, Is There Enough, is just a part of a conversation that I'm a part of, and something that I like to share with others. But I will definitely pass all of that information along because I think that's very useful.
Your website. You know what's funny? When you first came up here, I was going to ask you that, but then Favor was like, "I'm looking at your website," so I didn't want to ask a dumb question. What is your website, Jasmine?
It's the one before it. It's Between the Questions is my website, which is actually a work in progress. It's a new website rebuild currently happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this was very useful because it helped me to understand those different points and how important it is to have that structure. Because I never really understood like the whole heading system, but in that breakdown, it was very useful, Favor, to understand how that is cataloged and how we should be working with the headings and using that to support the overall SEO strategy.
I'm mad that that's not your website, because I literally was like, "Oh, I got something to tell you," but now I'm not going to tell you. It's not your website, but tell those people on that website they need to book a call with Favor too, because I think the hard part, and maybe this will help you when you're building your website. Okay, let me just ask: do you do something similar to what that website is trying to convey?
Yes.
Okay. Because straight away, and I don't know, Favor, if you have the same problem. So because first of all, I'm not marketing myself in this room. I just want to let everybody know I do not build websites anymore. Do not DM me about it, please. That's one of my least favorite things to do. It's hard. But when I did do websites, I always went by the 10-second rule. And this is a real thing, okay? Like marketers have studied this and it's true. In 10 seconds, if someone lands on your website, can they identify exactly what you are offering or selling? That Is There Enough website, I was like, what the heck is this? Like, what is going on? I just couldn't tell. Like, there was all this stuff, and then a quote, and then a white guy, and then all this stuff. I'm like, what? I can tell it's like something to do with, like psychology or coaching or life coach, something, but exactly what it is, I cannot tell. And I do not want you to make that mistake, because studies show that if in 10 seconds people cannot identify that, guess what? They're out of there. They're not spending a lot of time like researching and trying to click around. They're just like, oof, like can't tell, don't know, I'm out. So that's what's called a bounce rate. You want to make sure that you are like at the very top of that website in one sentence saying, hey, this is for blank. This will help you blank, whatever it is, so that people know exactly what they're there for. So I don't know, Favor, did you find that same issue with that? Is There Enough? Because maybe it's I don't like to make my view be the view, but I just want to make sure, I'm on the right trajectory.
Yeah, there was a lot, definitely a lot. So if you know or can connect with them, Jasmine, please let them know or send them my link, because there's a lot to fix there. And it's not just, there's a lot of websites. I've looked at yours too, betweenthequestions.com. First of all, I love the logo. It is fire. 100%, I got to tell you that.
Yeah, it looks great, but all the work, I was just like, woof, like it's a lot to read. And everything is just not connecting for me to understand, like, okay, what is this even about? And I think this is my last thought, and it's kind of to everybody in the room. I know we're here to talk about SEO, and I have so many people hit me up, oh, I need more people to come to my website. Well, you have to make sure that even on a website that's getting 10, 20 visitors a month, is it converting at the conversion rate it should be? And, the answer on this is very small. It's like 2 out of every 50 people should be basically taking some sort of action. It doesn't have to be buying from you, but contacting you, signing up for your news, something, right? If that's not there, it's like we're pouring gasoline on a fire, okay? We're just going to make it worse by sending more people. It's not going to fix your business problem. It's going to create a bigger problem if you're like, oh, damn, now I'm getting 10,000 people, on my website, but I'm still not making any money. That's because you have to start with the basics first. And then once that website is good, it's going to convert all the things, then we send more people to it. Quick analogy, it's like inviting people over for a dinner party, and okay, you advertise the food's great, all this stuff, and they come and your whole house is dirty. Like, you got to fix that first before you feed the people. And I will just land there because I'll get on my soapbox. This gets me fired up, Favor.
Now let's go. Let's do this. I'm excited. I really love that you said that because I was going to come to this point too. I just wanted to let you know, when you see these things, it's important to look at them. Your site, Jasmine, I can see the last update was let me see which date. Okay, I'm doing elimination right now. So I'm stuck on August. So August 1st. Let me see if there's another one closer. Yes, December 21st, 2025. Yeah, that's the closest one. Actually, no, December 31st, 2025. So there's no 2026 record. So I'm looking at your sitemap. That's what I was reading. I was looking at your last mods. And your website is on Wix as well. And I've broken it down. I've looked at the robots, I've looked at the sitemaps, and that's how I was able to tell. I can see the traffic, which has no keywords ranking, which Celeste was talking about. You don't have any keywords by traffic. And keywords by traffic says that if you have a key, the key is going to open a door, it's open a car. So if you don't have any keys that's opening any doors, then there are no conversations happening on your website, which means no visits, which means no traffic. So that's where the bottom line is. And when we look at your sitemap, if it's not updated or outdated, then it also tells a lot about what's on there. Yes, you have articles. I think you have about, 5 of them I'm seeing. And the latest one was July 30th, 2025. Yes, they're out there. It's good for people to see. But when it comes to structure, whether it's on Google Search Console, that's one question. If the sitemaps are there, that's another question. What's the robot saying? Right now, you have a crawl delay of 10. In other words, you're creating crawl delays, which is going to create error messages. So even if we connect your website to Google Search Console, there are still some errors that I see. So it goes beyond how the website looks and feels to what the technical build is. And that's why I was talking about how search engines work together, because Bing.com, ChatGPT, Googlebot, BingBot, or any other bot, whether it's Claude, Anthropic, whoever it is, whatever it is, they're going to be looking for this type of resources because HTML is what we read, right? Hypertext markup language, those blue links, that's what we read on Google. That's what we click on. And Celeste talked about it as well with conversions. What the bots read is not what we read. Yes, we read in plain sight in English or in another language, preferably to what you say or how you speak. But that language is because there's a communication value, there's an exchange of connections between that. There's a community that speaks that language. So that's the same way HTML to us humans is XML to them robots. That's the analogy. And XML is expandable markup language. So if your expandable markup language is not speaking the same language that the HTML hypertext markup language is saying, in other words, it's not representing the time, it's not recent, it's not updated, it's still 2024, 2023, it's 2005, and when 2026, there's no way you can be updated on the web servers because there's no semantics that brings your website closer to the most recent update. People are going on Google search, on ChatGPT for results. Imagine if every result you got was 10 years ago. You're not going to use that platform very long because you feel like you're using outdated content. And you can do that. People go to Google Scholar. People go to LexisNexis if you're looking for information, for resources. So when you start thinking about database, archives, whether it's lynda.com or LinkedIn Learning, these are databases that have responsibilities to update their content. You're not going to buy a course that was 10 years old. You're not going to go to a school that's teaching 50 years old content. Yes, it may have a little bit of this and that there, but if there's no modern infrastructure, if there's no progress, if there's no type of leaning towards what is happening in today's world, it's going to be hard for you to adapt. And more importantly, it's going to be hard for you to scale. That's why websites have sitemaps. If you don't have a sitemap, that's already a problem because some websites don't even have a sitemap. So that's why we're talking about these things today. And I'm glad that we're talking about this in full. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Jasmine, before I come to you, Jay Lorenzo.
Yeah, that was really great to hear. Thank you for that breakdown. And I have not put the amount of effort into my site that I should. But I was focusing on the build and on other aspects. So now I'm at that point where I'm ready to establish those connections and do that part of the work that needs to be done. So this was right on time. Thank you.
You are welcome. Definitely looking forward to hearing the good news, either through what we do with you or through what you do with someone else. But as long as it's done and the work is done well and it's done excellently, that's great. That's a win-win for everybody because it makes the world a better place and it makes the internet a greater place to share new content. So thank you for that feedback. Jay Lorenzo, what's going on, John? Love to hear your thoughts, questions, contributions. The floor is yours. Good morning.
Yes, hi, how are you? And you guys came on, or I came into this room just in the nick of time. I got a message from, or I can't remember who it was from exactly, but they said that my website is, they said that it was clean, but they made it sound like it's a little outdated or it needs to be updated with the new things. Like they were saying that I need to put some graphics in it. I probably need to do some videos, some behind the scene videos here and there and stuff like that. And I just want to get you guys' opinion because I'm a brand photographer. I also do e-commerce mostly, shooting for men's fashion and stuff like that. And, so I shoot products primarily and I do portraits, creative portraits whenever, those commissions come through. But I'd like to try to draw more traffic to it between my Instagram and my website. So I'm kind of at a loss as to what I need to do next.
Okay, Jay Lorenzo, let me ask this question. Is your website what I see in your profile, jmillerphotography.com?
jlmillerphotography.com, that's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to do a site check. So when you do site colon or full colon jlmillerphotography.com, no spaces, I can see already before even going into your website that your website is on Squarespace.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I've dealt with websites to the point where it's like ABC now, and I want to be able to help you see it like the way I do, so that we can get to the results that you want to. So right now you have one page. I was doing this with Eileen earlier, and she had 4 pages on Google, or 4 tabs, if you want to call them that, in the pagination. You have one. So I'm seeing there's J.L. Miller Photography serving the Greater Perth. Then there's interiors, there's campaign, there's product for serving Denver. Then there's serving Denver and surrounding area. There's portrait headshots.
I need to update that because I just moved back from Denver, back to Perth. So
Okay.
I have to do a little cleanup on that part. I just saw that just a second ago.
Okay. So this already is giving me update mode, because with the update, it also is important to think about where you're creating your content, where it's going. I love that you have your robots text very strong. It could be stronger, but I love the way it's set up. I'm looking at it right now. So your Squarespace robots text is good. And when I look at your page on Google, it has 1. So just looking at your site itself, and like you said, you're now in Perth, what is your goal for your website? Because every website has a specific goal. What is it? Is it leads, sales, conversions? Is it connections? Is it branding, PR? Let's talk about that. What's the goal?
Basically, as I said, I'm a product photographer, so I shoot really for small and medium-sized enterprises. And I shoot all types of products for the most part, but my specialty is basically in the fashion branding type of industry, or e-commerce industry, I should say. So I shoot a lot, for different shops. And then, of course, I've been doing some Airbnb interior shots. I used to shoot a lot of wine vineyards and all that, but that's kind of slowed down a little bit. But the one that keeps pretty much everything afloat is the fashion, lay flat type of imagery, which I call e-commerce type of work. So that's where I think I should put my heaviest concentration in. And then the next thing after that would be the various products that I shoot. Women's, like I've got a couple jewelry shops that I've got to shoot for coming up. And, they have all different types of stuff from rings to necklaces, earrings, that type of thing. So that's really where it's at. And the goal is to attract people and to convert, to get them to inquire and sign up, for me to convert that into actual shoots and stuff like that.
Okay.
And really quick, I heard him say, sorry, did you say you are still in Denver or no? I thought you said
No,
no.
I've just moved back. I was in Denver for 13 months. Family, parents passing and all. So once that was done, I moved back here. I've been here for 30 some odd years.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to ask
So I
that. Go
came,
ahead, Favor. Go ahead.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. And also my apologies as well. Sorry for your loss and my
yeah,
sincere
thanks.
condolences. And I pray you're in a good place,
Yeah,
and
I am now.
okay, good, good. And looking at your site, and I love the context because this is very important. Sometimes when we think about businesses, we're like, okay, how do we want to rank? Like Eileen, she wants to rank locally. She wants to be very specific to our target. She doesn't want to go beyond that space. And you're in the other side of the world. So it's like we're looking at two extremes, but we're looking at the same internet. So I will go to Perth and I'm going to search Perth, Western Australia has 2.33 million people.
Correct.
So, what out of the services, because I see your site, you have e-commerce, product, interiors, campaign, and portraits. What is prevalent or what's mostly searched within your area that you've seen that
Probably e-commerce.
e-commerce? Okay.
Yeah, that would be the number one. Products would be number two.
So
And interior, the way I actually have it listed is pretty much the order that it goes.
oh,
E-commerce,
perfect.
products, interiors, and then campaigns.
Love it. So I typed in e-commerce photography and this is on serpapi.com. So e-commerce photography in Perth, I can see the first result. Of course, I see 3 businesses. I see content by Amaya, I see Savvy Studio, and I see Image Pro. And then I go down, I see Some Effect, I see Australian Private Label, and I see estorefactory.com. And then, of course, I see other websites. So now the goal is to have your website, jlmillerphotography.com, in this listing.
Correct.
Because what I've just done is I've teleported based on search what's happening on Google. And it's telling me the number of people that are living in the area that are searching in real time for that result. So if you're not within those search results, that's going to bring a default where you may not be able to have that same traffic. Now, a second piece to this is emails. Because if somebody comes to your website now, and yes, there's a button that says contact John, but somebody would have to go to their email to contact you. Sometimes they may not have that time to send that one email, but they may have that same amount of time to leave their name and number so that that conversation can continue after those 5 seconds they've spent with you. So Question is, how is email or digital communications online for you right now?
You mean how does it work,
No,
or
like how you
how's it?
acquiring leads, how you maintaining leads, nurturing them, converting them.
Believe it or not, all my leads, all my work has come by word of mouth. I hardly get anything off of the sites, off of anything digital, website or even Instagram. I just don't get anything from there.
Okay.
All my work for the last umpteen years have always been through. There's a couple art directors out here that know me, so they, and they have lots of clients, and so they'll refer their clients to me as well. So it's been a huge word of mouth type of thing.
Okay. So it's going to be possible. And let me ask you this first. Would you want to see a change and have your website as the traffic generating machine for your business?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we're going to crunch some numbers and we're going to look at this together real quick. And if this is interesting, I would love to share this with you when we get on a call. The link is available at the top and we can schedule a time at any time that, you're available based on your calendar.
Yep.
And I searched the word e-commerce photography in Perth and I see let me go to the questions. There are 40 questions. There are 40 questions that people ask. Let me just go a little bit deeper into this. Give me a second. I'm going to do this twice so I can get it in perfect sequencing. There we go. All right. So it's dropped down to 11. It's dropped down to 11. So there are 11 questions in Perth in the last 24 months that I can see that people search about e-commerce photography. And people ask how much to charge for it, how to shoot one, what it is, how much does it cost, who to talk to, what are the type of shoots. And those are very important questions.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have the answers to those questions on your website within your sitemap, that's where the
Mm.
problem lies. Because when I
Mm.
look at your frequency on your sitemap, I can see you have your priority as ranging from 0.75 to 1.0, which is good. It shows that you're in the 25 percentile. You're in a higher range. I can even flip it and say you have a 75% market share when it comes to getting more of those people, because I can see you have e-commerce men's belt. I can see you have men's winter coat, women's bracelet. So it's giving me like pocket square, men's umbrella, Italian made suits. I'm looking at these things right now deep inside your sitemap. So me looking at
Okay.
this is telling me, okay, you want to rank for e-commerce photography, but within your sitemap, where is that located? And if it's not showing up on Google, it's definitely not showing up on your website. And if it is, it's not updated or it's not standardized to that format that Google actually accepts based on the guidelines. So
Hmm.
when we're able to now restructure that, then you're able to have a better response. Because right now you have a great robots text file, but because you have all those codes, whether it's a user agent allowing or disallowing a field or information that's passing through, your sitemap is also giving another result. So the goal is to make sure that your website is getting that response so that if somebody's looking for your service in Perth, they're finding you there and they're landing specifically into your e-commerce, which is jlmillerphotography.com/e-commerce. But right now, that's not what's happening, because when I look at your traffic on that page, it's loading. Yeah, it has one organic keyword, 0 monthly traffic, domain authority is 3, and you have 16 backlinks. So this can change sporadically if there's structure within the setting. And that can happen when you have content on your website that can give you that same capacity. Now, I want to give you an example of what we've done with a client that does the same thing you do in your industry. And I won't even tell you the person's name because you're going to tell me the person's name from your screen. And
Okay.
this is what it is. If you go to google.com and you type in Texas Airbnb photography, what do you see?
Okay. Yeah. Well, right off the bat, it says Airbnb photographers in industry, Texas. That's the first heading or first entry. And then there's David Pizzette photographers below that. Ellen
That's
Renee.
That's him. That's the
Oh,
person.
David.
Yeah, that's the client.
Oh, okay. So he's number 2 on the list.
Is on my side is number 1 and Airbnb is number 2. So
Yeah,
it jumps.
Airbnb is number 1, but see that's Airbnb.com. And
Right.
then there's David, and his is David Pizzat.com.
Correct. So I just wanted to give you a live representation. I didn't want to tell you who it is because it's there. It's on Google.
Right,
And
right.
if you click on his
Oh, I like
website,
that.
when you click his website, he gets emails. It got to a point where he even had to tell me, "Hey, Favor, some people want me to sell my business because they see him ranking in areas that they actually wanted to hire him as a staff so that he can stop his business so that he can de-rank because he's literally taking the position of the people that wanted to hire him." And he said, I told him, no, don't sell it. And he still has his business running. He's doing Airbnb photography. He's taking great photos for people, for Airbnb hosts, and he's not spending
Yeah,
a dollar on Google. And he's been ranking for years. So just to tell you, the same thing that can happen for him can happen for you.
right, right. Got you. This is not. It's a nice website. I was just looking at it.
You know, we
Cool.
I don't like to just bluff things here because I like to tell facts
Oh yeah,
because that way we
I,
can,
I hear
you
you.
know, we're in two different countries right now.
I hear you. Okay, no, it's real nice. Real nice.
Is this what you want?
Yeah, yeah. It's very similar to that. Yes, definitely.
I'll tell.
No, I didn't think it would be. I figure when we have our conversation, we'll get more to the nitty gritty of cost and how much, we'll go that route and see what's what.
Okay.
Because I knew I needed some help. I knew didn't know exactly what I could do and what someone else does. Although if you say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, I can do that because I know my way around my website. And I'm willing to do that. So we're good.
And I just wanted to jump in and say, okay, first of all, I'm so happy you're going to talk to Favor, but oh my gosh, I was looking at your work. It is absolutely phenomenal. Like, you are very, very talented. Like, I mean, did you see the pictures, Favor? Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, you want
crazy
to eat
good.
the photo.
Like, yes, you have, that's to me is like, because no shade, and nobody here on the stage, it doesn't apply, but sometimes people are like, ooh, can you help me get more traffic? I'm like, to what? Like, that doesn't look very good, but you have that going for you. And so the SEO is just going to be like the cherry on the top. So I'm excited to see what y'all come up with.
Yeah, yeah, same here, same here. Thank you, though.
This is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Jay Lorenzo. This was definitely helpful. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Even Jasmine, Eileen, Celeste, I've learned a lot from you guys more than you've learned from me, to be honest, because your businesses are unique and you're doing things that are very specific. So I learned more and I'm able to understand how we can get the base, the root, and figure out the fundamentals so that we not, running in circles, but we're actually accelerating and we're progressing at a high
Right.
capacity.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for this feedback. Does anyone have any question, any last thoughts before we go? We've really, I think we say we've done well on this topic, and I think XML sitemaps have been understood. If not, please let us know in the chat. Eileen, we'd love to hear from you.
I just want to thank you. I think your information has been valuable, and I appreciate the time you've spent in here educating all of us.
Well done.
Now let me ask a quick question. On your calendar, the ones that are blue, is that time already taken or what? Or are those?
Oh, good question. The ones that are blue, I set it to be in your time zone. So the ones that are in blue are the ones that are available.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so any of them that are available, you can hit on the blue button and then it will tell you the time. And then once you hit next, it will give you the details to put in there. And then once you schedule the event, you'll get an invite on your calendar and an invite on mine too. And we'll be able to match. And then I'll do a 5-minute audit and send you a video that you can watch through before our scheduled call so that you can see everything we're talking about. So the 30 minutes we spend is not spent on things we could have decided on beforehand.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Excellent.
Awesome. Great
All
question.
right.
Thank you.
No problem.
A great
This was
conversation.
a great
Thank you,
room.
Celeste. Thank you, y'all. Y'all made it happen. If it wasn't for your questions, for your contributions, this room would have been including me, and we're able to learn and help each other grow. I'll be talking about things like this, and the next topic would be, actually, let me ask you, would you want us to talk about robots tags, or you want us to talk about uh, canonical tags? Because I'm going to talk about
Canonical
canonical.
tag sounds good.
Yeah, canonical tags.
Okay, so canonical wins. Okay, Jasmine, I see that too. Okay, so we'll talk about canonical tags and understand what they are, what they do, why they're so important, and if they're not done well, what it means for your site and what it could do to your site. It's kind of like having a terrible, stain on your credit and you can't get it off. Like, it has to get off for you to have a better response or a better report. So 5 Central. I got to give you your time back. I respect your time. I can't take your whole day. So I always want to make sure I'm here to give you information. It's a global app. So I love to stay here and connect with each and every one of you. If you have any questions, the link is available to book a call with me, or you can hit on my face. And once you click on my face, you're going to see all my links there. I have about 8 links on there. You can connect with me, get on a call. Go to the We Don't Play podcast. That's wedon'tplaypodcast.com. My podcast is one podcast away from 650 episodes, and we're ranking in 160 countries. We're about to kick season 13, and it's going to be exciting because now in the top 20,000 out of 4.6 million shows, I understand exactly what people need, what people are asking, how do you disseminate information, how do you make something so I think I can say it's so complicated, sounds so simplistic and easy to understand, because the last thing you want to do is talk to somebody about something that needs help with it, then that you can't respond to or give adequate feedback, because now that's wasting both of your times. You want to make sure that it's quality time spent, and quality involves value. So that's what I definitely wanted to share with you today. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you, Celeste, for being here too. Eileen, Jasmine, Jay Lorenzo, Ryan, BMT, Santosh, Betty, Nick, Sister, thank you for being here, as well as Zatron, Ebenezer, Raj, Amin, Karim, thank you for being here. If you are just being here for the first time, this is a marketing club. At the very top, that's where you're able to get more information like this. If you want to be more specific in actually getting emails, because I do send out emails and I give some very insightful tips, click the link in the chat, and that link in the chat is going to take you to my link. And once you click on it, you just sign up and subscribe to the AI SEO newsletter, where we talk about these things. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm also there too. Let's have a conversation and let's make it happen, because you matter, your website matters, your sitemap matters. And we'll talk about canonical tags next time. So until next time, have a blessed day. For those who love tacos, happy Taco Tuesday. And I'm going to see you guys in the next room. Talk to y'all soon. Bye for now.
All right.
If you have reached this point of the episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I hope this has helped you, given you some insight, because every time I come on here, or anytime I bring somebody on here, a guest, a speaker, anyone that is of relevance to you listening, is always going to give you educational value, definitely entertainment value, and most importantly, empowerment value. So thank you for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show every day. And if you want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Click the links in the description, or go to info@playinc.online, info@playinc.online, and book a call. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk SEO. Let's talk marketing. Let's talk business. Let's talk scaling. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and your business. Till we meet in the next episode, have a blessed evening. Have a blessed day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now. And don't forget, Jesus loves you.